All right, guys, welcome back. So what we're going to do today is we're going to push out our MVC. And so yesterday we were struggling a little bit with code authorization flow. And ultimately what it was is that here you can see the project. If you looked at the resource server, my issue is that here in startup, I had this external HTTP config like this, right? So this ultimately, even though I'm doing a route config and I'm registering these routes, it's never doing this to the HTTP configuration. And if I try to do it using the configuration, then it ends up having an issue with the web API here. So kind of a little bit strange with what was kind of the problem and what was going on. So to correct that, I was just getting rid of all of this stuff. So that way I'm no longer dependent on an external like that. And that should be good to go. So let's go ahead and take a look at our database and make sure that that's fine. Okay, so our what? Strange. Okay. So here are the tables. Everything looks good to go. Routing routed. Okay. And so here, this is where I was calling the authorizations flow. So we actually are not going to be doing this at all because it does not make sense if I'm the owner. So this here, we're going to verify with the auth server that in fact this is a registered user. Okay. So now what we should do is we should push out my, let me double check this real quick. Okay. So now what we need to do is, I believe I'm injecting my BLL auth here, and I am. So that's a really good thing. So what I should be able to do is something like var token equals await, and then it's going to be a services auth, right? Up here, I need to have something called my iService auth, right? And we're going to inject this. What did I call this ultimately? iClient service auth, client services auth. Like that. And then we need to have a, no, we can have these as private. Client services auth, client services auth. My friend is studying a university course in computer science, but he told me to choose a coding language to learn. What's the best one to start with? Hey, DevExter, welcome back. Good to see you. C++, what are his choices? Said anything, but I'm guessing the usual suspects. What is his interests? Does he seem more like a data guy? Does he seem more like a building guy? Does he seem more like a design and pretty things guy? Okay, here we go. We now have it assigned, so I should be able to use this now, which is called client services auth dot, and I should have something here called get token, and it's a new token client request, right? And I should be able to pass in the client ID, which comes from my BLL auth.credentials, which is not exposed. So let's go expose that. Said anything, but I'm guessing, oh, we already read that one. Okay. If you guys have any questions, please pop them into the channel. Make sure you check us out on Discord, which is discord.pixelhorrorstudios.com. And then also we just started going up on YouTube, so if you have any, want to see any of the older legacy videos, they don't have music, so nothing gets banned. And I can put a link up in the channel. Until we get the bot up, there's no command for it. Okay, so here, I'm passing in something called credentials, right? This token client request credentials. So let's go down to the bottom of this and create the public token client request, and we'll call this credentials, and then we'll just get it. And then we need to expose that in the, oops, interface right there. All right. Hey there, ToteCK. Welcome back. It's good to see you again. You were here in the end of yesterday, I believe. Okay. So we're good there. So now I'm back over here. I should be able to get this token from my credentials here, right? And this should be the client secret. This one's going to be the secret. This one's going to be the password. The username, which is my viewModel.username, and it's not currently there, but we'll fix that. And then also my password. This thing says that this is, I need an assembly in there. The fuck? All right, well, I got to add a reference here to my PHS core lib. So let's go ahead and do that. That's here in the auth. We need to add a reference to my project PH core auth. Lib auth. I have it. Like that. Interesting. Okay. PHS core lib. So let's go ahead and clear this reference. It seems like it doesn't like these things at the moment. Add this back in. Damn. Okay, let's add in my references here. This one needs to be my PHS core lib. This is going to be annoying. This thing has been giving me just problems. I don't know if you guys have used 2017. It causes some issues. It's really irritating. I think this also needs to have the auth server URL, which was also my bllauth.credentials.base URL. So we'll call this my auth base URL. So we have a little bit of work to do here. Inside of my account model, this thing needs to be, do we need to get a user email? Let's do a password, a username instead. Okay. That should fix that. And then this one in my credentials needs to have a, no, that doesn't come from credentials. This thing, login, should come from, just a moment. If I come and I look at this, be token client request, we don't want to change this. So what I want to do then is have in my BLL auth, let's come look over here. It's a module, my auth BLL. And what we want to do is we want to look at my BLL auth. And we want to take the client token request here. And what we want to do is we want to change that. So here in my lib, actually you could probably just nest it. App credentials. And then all it's going to be is extending the token client request. And it's going to add in the string for my auth base URL. Hold on. Nah, that's stupid. Instead of that, let's go here to my web config, and I'll just add it in here as an app key. So we're going to say that this key is my auth base endpoint, and my value will be localhost. What did I put it at? 8081. So now I can just grab this, and then I can come back over here, and now I can say that this is my configuration manager dot, and then it's going to be, or it's a key, so it's an app settings, like that. It worked now. Interesting. Okay. So now, if my token is not equal to null, and now if my token dot bearer token, and it's going to be a does not string dot is null or white space. Watch out, you wrote endpoint instead of endpoint. Ah, thank you. Okay. Hey there, Senior K. Thank you for that follow. Very much appreciate that. If you haven't yet, please join us at discord.pixelhorrorstudios.com. That's the main way that everyone stays in communication. Since we started streaming about a year and a half ago, we actually developed a pretty strong community of like-minded developers. It's actually a great resource if you guys ever have any questions. Additionally, the older videos are up on YouTube, and I could post a link if anyone's interested. And those also done in video or audio music, so nothing is muted. So thanks again, guys, for the support. Here we go. So now if this is not null, then what we're going to do is we're just going to do some crap, right? I don't care what this is, because I just want to see if this thing is working. So let's go ahead and break on this, and then if I come down here, this, I want to change my manager to be find by name async, and we want this to be my username. Okay, and then back over on the, how do I do it? Where I look at this in the view. I need to change my email here to be email. This is going to be username. Input type is going to be text. Name is going to be username. Please enter your username. Good to go. And then I want to check my connection string in here. phs.mvc. Oh no, because this is the web API that I'm looking at, right? So this is, so I'm stupid, I put this in the wrong one. Let's just move it over here to the MVC. Okay, that should work. Hey Jacobs, how are you doing today? Welcome to the channel. Came in at a great time, eh? Here we go. I saw that, by the way. What am I running? It's not the one I wanted. It's not the droids I'm looking for. That's fine. We want this to be my startup project. And now we're going to have these errors because my references are gone because I got rid of them because nothing built. So let's add them. This is called iClient Services Auth, right? If I look back down here at my service, iClient Services Auth. There it is. And then let's change this to client services auth. Okay. A couple others. We need to add in the lib. Same thing here. And then let's add in our references here. So in my authorization server, I'm just validating it here. So we don't want to validate anything here, right? We just want to return. We are currently disabling code authorization and implicit code grant. Disabling. Okay. Like that. Let's rebuild. Let's look at the board over here for a minute. We are doing our remove user manager and include BLL auth layer. So this is great. This one is what we're currently working on. I do need to still add in my error logger. That's not a problem. And then I think that we're creating the data access layer for it. I think we already did that, didn't we? And I think we already created the web. We'll have to see. Oh, I got a few others. Huh. Okay, so my IPHS user manager, that's in my what? What is going on with my Visual Studio? There we go. And then this one as well, using, and then add reference. Hi, Deno XD. How are you doing today? What I'm working on is a ASP.NET MVC4 application. It's for Pixel Horror Studios, which is my company. It's the main infrastructure. It also includes a web API and a Windows service, which will be parsing messages. It's sort of like an RSS feed that can go as a backend as a service model. So you can do like a TCP or a WebSocket with different connections as they go. So we are creating it so that you can log in. I'm creating my authorization system. Everything's done. And right now what I'm doing is I'm just making sure that my MVC is able to authorize you as a user onto it and then retrieve a token. And if the token does not equal to nothing, then it will register you if you're not already registered. I'm sorry, if you were registering, or it'll log you in. So we need to add in a few more of these references, right? Let's get rid of this. Okay. MVC is what? Model view. It's a model view controller, and it's an architectural pattern for making a web application. So I'm making this in ASP.NET. What is going on, man? This thing is just so unhappy with me. That's fine. I don't care about that. Let's see. All right, so everything built, it says, right? No, that's BS. No, this is not client services. These are real services. So this probably needs to get a iClient service auth to iClient services auth. What does this want? My type of? So this one, my simple refresh token, my web API auth providers. we need to add a reference here to my refresh token view model. So that's going to be my auth lib. Like that. And then my client services auth. Because it's not called client services, right? This is a simple refresh token provider. This hits the database directly. So that's called a I services auth, right? Like, let me look, because I put that here in my data access layer for my authors. So it's here, this one's I service auth, no S. Don't go too fast, Rob. Okay, and now this one here is going to be my service auth, and this one will be my I service auth, like that. That should clear that. Services auth, right? Because this is the same deal here. That's fine. Now we can rebuild it. It's probably going to work right here. Feeling pretty good. Okay. Did it finish? Let's see if it'll run. Looks like it did. Now I probably need to republish my authorization server because I changed it significantly, right? All right, so it logged us in. Let's go ahead and log out. Now I added some breakpoints, and I know that this database is seeded with something, so let's sign in here. The username field is invalid. Okay, here it is. So my client ID, my client secret, my username, my password, and my app settings base. So my token, did I get a token back? I got token equals null. So good. Now we need to add in our correct credentials. So if I come back here and I look at my domain level, and I look at my migration in here, I should be able to find my add admin user as being added directly to the MVC client app. And my username that I'm adding here is admin. So that means my password would be the same, which is this one. Here, let's see what happens. Password cannot be more than 20 characters. So that means that we need to come back over here to my accounts controller, and I should be able to go to the view and then modify, because this one has its validation in JavaScript, rules for validation, and it's 40. Token is null. Okay, so let's take another peek. I guess the first thing I want to do is double check my authorization server is running correctly. So let's run it here locally. If I check to see where it's running, it's on my 57576, which is fine. So let's go ahead and set this as the startup project. And then I want to take a look at my web API config. Validation keys, good. Let's go ahead and run it. I need to open up my Postman. Oh, sorry, this one. We're going to do a post over to this. That one, it's going to be at my OAuth / token. My keys here are going to be my username equals admin. My password equals, I don't have it yet. My grant type was password. We can just try these at first. Let's try this. a route. See, it's down. So let's go correct that. So if I come back over and I look at my authorization server, I had a problem here in my startup because when I remove my HTTP config, now it's telling me that it's registering my routes twice. So it's saying that there already is a default in here. But if I look back here, there's also this one. So I don't think we need this either. We might need to just remove that route. We'll see in just a second. Let's try running it again. How are you guys doing out there today? Name default. Routes.map route default. Come on, come on. So it says this one. Let me just look inside of this project here for something called default name default. All right, well, it's unhappy that this route is being registered a second time, so let's try it again. My backend for a MOBA runs on ASP. I like ASP. ASP Classic, ASP NAT, MVC, ASP Core. There, now it's running. So now I should be able to come over to my Postman and fire it. There's my token. So now I should be able to add in my client ID, which is 3001, and then also my client secret, which was that. Okay, so it's all working now. So we'll publish it out to my PHS auth publish. It's done. Okay, so now we can switch back over to the MVC. We should be good to go. Here we go. I'm excited to scaffold out some views. I'm going to need that password again, right? This one here. All right, did it work? So my token is not null, and I got a bearer token. So that's perfect. That means that you're authorized. So now if it's not null and it's not equal to nothing, then what we want to do is we want to verify that the user exists with the provided information. So we're going to look for the user. If it doesn't exist, then there. Otherwise, we're going to say that invalid username or password here, because you haven't been registered to this site yet. So that should be it. This one right here authorizes the user with the authorization server. Verifies the user is registered with the authorization server. Okay. So I think we can call that done for this little chunk. My user manager here, this is fine, but this should be done with dependency injection. So let's go ahead and implement that. Over here in my MVC, I need to add a, pardon me, I need to add a context for my, I'm going to be using entity framework here as my object relational model. Are you using socket.io for the chat? Negative, I'm not. I'm using Restream for the chat, but this will be the replacement for Restream and also MooBot and all the different Twitch services that are out there, and it will be available for you guys to use if you'd like as well. At least for my use, that's what this is coming from. All right, so here we need to add in a new class here. We're first going to call this my application DB context. We also need to have a application role manager and an application user manager. So my user manager here, that one's going to be inheriting here from a user store, right, of an identity user. And the reason why I'm overriding this is so that I can use dependency injection on it. Application user manager, right? And it's an iUser store of my identity user. Remember, my convention is that I do not modify the existing ASP.NET identity tables. I extend from them, and that way I don't have to use identity context everywhere. Okay, so now what we need to do is... Sorry, this is a user manager, like that. And now what we need this to do is a user validator, right, is equal to a new user validator of my type identity user. And this will be false here. Actually, it's not. It's just like this. And the manager is this one. And we want to pass in some information to it. And we have only alphanumeric characters here. True. And then also require unique email we don't care about. Just like that, right? And then additionally, that's fine. Okay, the next one here is we need to have the role manager, which is very similar. It's just going to be a role manager, and that's an identity role. Hey, I don't know, XD. Thank you for that follow. Very much appreciate that. Make sure that you check us out on discord.pixelhorrorstudios.com. Also, if you're interested in any of the older videos, they're available on YouTube. And they also don't have any audio, so that way you can listen to them as well. Let's see, application role manager. Thank you guys for the support. Role manager there. That looks pretty good for the role manager. And then additionally, I'm going to need to have the database context. Now, this one is one of these identity database contexts, right? Like this, identity user. So this one will be implementing the ASP.NET identity tables. And I know that I need to have a constructor in here for application DB context, which inherits, has a base constructor here of my default connection. That's it for that. So let's go ahead and we need to have a couple of interfaces. application DB context. application role manager. application user manager. I use Postgre database apart from ASP.NET. I just use connect with code to the database. Oh, I've used Postgre a little bit. They're all kind of the same. I like Entity Framework because it helps you to think of your data in terms of entities as opposed to a relational database model. There's a little bit of a mismatch for that, but the power comes from when you're looking at it from data analysis with business intelligence, because if it's already defined into entities, it's super easy to inject that right into business intelligence software. Okay, so now we need to add a couple of interfaces. So the first one here is going to be called my application user manager. The next one here is going to be called my application DB context. And my last one here is going to be my application role manager. This is a public with none of these. This one I clicked wrong, so this is an interface. And this one is a public. Perfect. So now over here, I should be able to do my private I application user manager. Now I believe I already did this down here in my authorization module. So yeah, it's right here. So in our user manager, we want to add in these things. Let's just move this over here for now for a minute. And that's because I'm using this as an interface, so it doesn't inherit the methods from the base class. Okay, that's fine. And then we also have to do one for the role manager, which I have this here. Dumb. It goes in here. That's fine. And then also your application DB context. Does that have anything special going on with it? I don't think so. Okay. So we should be good there. And now I need to come over to my container, and I need to this one. It's my auth base endpoint. So this needs to be my configuration manager dot app settings. And then additionally, you need to register these types here. So they go here, and I believe I already had this done as well. Just a moment. Here in my web API, under my auth, I should have in my Unity config here this. So let's just add this down here. We don't care about this stuff. So we have an I application user manager. And then we have a iUser store user manager. This one's fine with an identity user. We have a I application role manager. Finally, we have this DB context, which is going to be going to my application DB context. Do you have one to do my I application DB context? You don't. Like that. That should do it. This thing is so unhappy. So now this is called my application user manager. Create identity async is not currently in there. So if we look back at this one, I can just grab it by just navigating through the base classes. Create identity async. And this is an identity user. Let's rebuild it. Good morning, ThinkBot Labs. Just stopped by. Can you be quick recap of what your Twitch bot will be doing? It'll be kind of an open-ended software, so you guys can register under the web application, and then you can have a series of different streams or endpoints, if you will, if you're a developer as a backend as a model, or also if you wanted, you can have them go directly to the web application. And then you can put commands in there. You can do all the different things with that. And then it's a platform for games. And I have the overlay, which is completed over in Unity, and I can show that as soon as we get it so that I'm able to connect to Twitch and send messages from here. So that way we can control it also from the web app. It's also the infrastructure for Pixel Horror Studio. So this also includes an authorization server and a web API, which are already up. What is wrong here? All right. This is fine, right? I think that this is fine now. I don't get why this is. If I look here at my different managed NuGet packages for the solution, let's just take a quick peek and see if anything is wrong here. So Antier says that this thing has multiple selections. So let's go ahead and install this onto the new one, 3.502, which is on my resource server. Okay, latest stable, multiple versions installed of Entity Framework. So let's update this one here. This is my MVC. Probably jQuery and probably, interesting, sounds pretty robust. Yeah, I needed it for my own use, and then I thought it would work really well for others if they needed it as well. Come on, come on, come on, kick through. Come on. All right. My ASP identity core is different, 2.2.1, so let's install that. I probably should do a reinstall all, and I think I can continue forward. We can probably do that off air. So let's just let this one finish, and then I'll run it and build it. So this looks good, how all this is working here. Now my dependency injection is currently working, so we should be good there. And then now I think what we can do is we could start to scaffold out some views. Let's go ahead and run this. I do not know what this thing is so upset about at me. This is in my authorization service, so I'm going to unload this for a moment. And I'm going to unload this one for a moment. Now I'm going to rebuild everything. I miss 2015. 2017 seems to have a lot of problems. I might go back. All right, that built. Let's reload the auth server. It built, right? So let me come back in here. I'm going to delete these references again because this is totally unhappy. Let's try bringing these in again. Almost there. See if that worked. Well, it cleaned it. I might have to remove the bin and the OBJ or restore packages, or I'll probably unload it here in just a moment because it's currently working. It's not that big of a deal. I want to start scaffolding out some accounts. That actually could have done it though. See, that could have totally done it because it did have a missing reference there. So I probably in my PHS MVC I need to load it. There, it worked, right? Nah, it's close. I'll do this off air. Let me close this one down. We'll unload this, and then we'll load back this one, because we should be fine here. Let's rebuild this. I feel like this thing is just a piece of crap, and I miss 2015 more than anything. Meaning it like hardly runs. I'm gonna have to go back after this. This is garbage. I've been using it for some time too. It just seems to be getting worse and worse. But suddenly yesterday it started not giving me references. It wouldn't let me look at code in the debugger. It was like optimizing crap and I wasn't telling it to. Now it's like hiding references that aren't here. So freaking stupid. Update package. And that's going to do it for everything. Everything's going to get updated right now. Yeah, I'm going to go back to 2015. I used 2015 at work. I used 2015 forever, you know, since it came out. But, I mean, it's garbage. 2017 seems to be garbage. Okay, so meanwhile, this is going to take a little bit. So I wonder if I can scaffold out some views during this time. Let's go ahead and create a new area in here. And we're going to call this one my... Well, we have an account controller. So we're going to need to have something which is called Alley Chat. We already built some of our entities. I've had the complete opposite experience so far. 2017 has been nice to me. Yeah, it was nice to me up until about a couple of days ago, except at work too. We used Windows 7 at work, so JetBrains for the win. Can you do C# in JetBrains? I cannot get this thing to go faster. Maybe we should change this thing so I could get a computer, make this thing go a little faster. It's kind of crappy. Did this thing freeze up on me? No. Maybe. I think I gotta shut it down, open it again. Okay, I'm closing it. Let's try it again. I don't use ReSharper at all, Shadow. I think slows everything down even more. Raider, cross-platform IDE for C#. I've never heard of Raider. I'll probably just go back to 15. Okay, let's try it again. I'm not a C#, so I've never used it. C# dev. Okay, so we got some more problems here. This thing is so unhappy with me. So let's go ahead and do A. And in the meantime, I'm going to open up Unity so we have something to do. Okay. We're going to have to let this thing run here. But I have something in Unity opening here, which is nice. I could probably showcase something, right? So here, I forgot to write in my time for yesterday, which was 8/23/2017. I started at 06:30 and I went to 07:15, and that was at getting the Auth BLL up and going. And then from 07:15 to 08:30, I did the struggling with the code Auth flow. Today at 08, that was yesterday, 22. I started it at about 6 again, I think, today. And I went till like 7, and I did something there, and then now I'm doing something else at 07:02. And this is going to be correcting the NuGet packages. Okay. This one here, we hooked MVC up to the auth server. Okay, we're good to go there. So now I should be able to come back over here to my Unity. If it... Oh, it's opening right now, right? It takes a moment. Well, it did make my alley chat, and it did scaffold it. So you can see over here inside of my modules, I already started this alley chat module, and we created most of the database, which is nice. So if I look here at the models, you can see I have my user, and a user is extending off my model base. And then I have, oh, I'm not really using that, am I? But then over here in my account goes to account of a user of the MVC site, account of a user of the MVC site. Yeah, user ID and clients. Perfect. So, and then we have a provider here, which has one, and then also the providers routed and routing. That's perfect. So we're going to hook that up. So, oh, this is already done. Okay, so back over here then in the MVC, what I should be able to do is, let me get rid of that. Back over here in the MVC now, if it finishes building, I should be able to scaffold out the first one of these controllers. And the one I want to do is, let me think. So when you need to be able to create a new, Well, I had it written down. There's two paths. One of them is going to be routing messages. So let's do that. So let's say that you need to register a account first. This is such crap. I'm probably going to have to call it here with all these debug errors. Oh no, it works fine. What the hell? Alright, so it's working, which is fine. So let's scaffold it. "2017 is a headache, man." Okay, so we want to do admin. And then if I come back over here to my domain, I need to get my password here. And now it says that my object reference is not set. So it never actually did my dependency injection here on my controller. So for under accounts, I'm doing client services and BLL auth, right? But I'm never actually doing the application user manager. So that's completely accurate. Try it again. It's so crazy to me that this is still doing this. All right, let's try again. And then I'm going to probably set this up so I can create an account next. So we want to do a under my domain for this again. Invalid username or password. So what happened here? If I come back to my account and I look at what happens when I'm logging in, and I'm getting my token here, right? Is that active? Yeah. So now I want to find by username admin, but my user is equal to null. So it is in fact, so it's not registered in this application, right? So when I come back down to my seed and I'm creating my admin user, add MVC admin owner account client. So if it is an admin, is this running? MVC admin, okay. If there's no client in here where this is equal to 3001, then you want to add this to each side and then save changes. So let me think for just a second why this isn't taking. But I am getting a token, so it's just not registered in this system. So that means that to register, just a second. Yep, that's correct. So now we want to register this into the system. So what we need to do is we're not currently allowing that. So down here under my register, let's create this stuff here. This is my post back. So if we have a valid model, then we're going to create this. So now what we have here is like a client services auth dot, and I should have something here called like a create account. And we want to do like an account create request. Is that something that's already in here? If I look back over at my lib for auth, so let's create a new class here called my account create request. This is going to be a public, and it's going to be inheriting from my base request. What does this need is a username. I guess it's going to be a string with the user ID, right? It's going to be a prop. It's going to be a string with my username. This is a password, and then we also want to make sure that this has the correct data type. Hey, John, how's it going, buddy? It's great to see you. Wow, this has become a thing again. Good. Yeah, man, I like these morning streams. How goes it, buddy? It's good to see you. What else do we need besides to have these two? We have a username. We have a password. We'll probably want to have an email if we want one. We have a... That's probably fine, right? So now what we want to do here is we have a... So now what we need to do is we need to do something like this. We need to have a couple of basic functions here in my service base. So if we come back here, we need to have a couple of basic ones. We need to have a protected async task called a post. A lot of stuff going on at the same time. House, kid, work. But it's all good. That's awesome, man. Hey there, Nils Noah. Welcome back to the channel. It's great to see you. Do you happen to be good at Java and physics and want to help me? I don't do a lot with Java, a little bit, but I'm fine with physics. What's going on with your physics thing? So let's do a post here, all right? So we need to send some data here. So we're going to have a string of my serialized data. We're going to have a string of my base URL, and then we're going to have a probably a specific endpoint and a token, right? But this is going to be returning a type of base request. Sorry, base response. So back over here, I don't like calling it this. Under my data access layer, sorry, under my library, we're going to call this thing a base service. But we don't want that one. We want the client services one. Base client services. Moment. Here it is. Base response. Yeah, it will have chat capabilities. What is this that you posted here? I'm looking at it. This is a sphere, but as you can see, the lighting isn't working. Are you doing this? What language are you doing this in? I mean, not language. What IDE are you doing this in? Hey there, Patrick. How you doing this morning, buddy? It's great to see you. Let's go ahead and change that name. So now over here, we need to have a post. So we need to have a var current time equals my date time dot now. And then what we need to do is I'm sorry, we never use now. It's going to be a UTC now, right? And then here what we want to do is we want to have a using, and it's going to be a var client equals a new HTTP client, right? And so now what we're going to do is it's a client.base address is equal to my, and then it's a new URI of my, and then I think it was just my base URL, right? And then we're going to do a try and a catch. Okay, so now this is wrong. This is a T, because this is a generic. like that. Sorry, that's incorrect. It's not that type, it's this type. And so now what we need to do is we need to actually client.defaultRequestHeaders.accept.clear. And then what we want to do is a client.defaultRequestHeaders.accept. And we want to do an add, and it's a new media. Hold on. IDE. It's going to take a while, guess, and say Eclipse. It's never now, Rob, 2017. Your text editor that you're using. Do you know how those shading things work? Nope, nope. Eclipse. Nope. I knew it, says John. IDE, and Integrated Development Environment. IDE is an application you use to develop your code. Eclipse is typically used with Java, like MSVS is typically used with C#. I just use Android Studio when I'm working with Java. But that's my only real job experience is a little bit with Android Studio. So we need to have here a new media type with quality header value. And we can get rid of all of this stuff. And this is going to be passing in an application /JSON, right? Next one, default request headers.accept. Nope, authorization, right? Equals a new authorization header value, and that's going to have a bearer, like that. And then also my token. We're going to change this to be my access token. Now we need to actually post this thing out there. So it's going to be a var result equals, and we're awaiting my client.post as JSON async. Is this a thing I can do at the moment? No. So let's find it. I don't do shading. No, I don't work with shaders or anything or reflection. I don't do graphics programming. No, and I use Unity, which manages a lot of that stuff on my behalf. So here I need to find the namespace. This one here. Let's use this one. Okay, so this is in my base client services, right? So back over here, we're going to go to my PHS core client services. We're going to install package. Just a second. You still want to look over it? I can send you the formula. Sure. Hey there, Mr. Rocket. How are you doing? Thank you for that $1 million donation. Oh, 1 million. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. What happened here? It's not found on the primary source for this thing. ASP.NET client. Oh, there's no period at the end of that. Let's try it again. Oh, it's adding the wrong package here. That's fine. We'll have to update everything again in a few minutes. And now we should be able to get this thing, right? There we go. Now it's working. So now my request URI is going to be what? My endpoint. We're going to have a new string content here, right? That we're passing over, which is going to be my serialized data, I believe. And now I need to tell it my endpoint, which is going to be, I'm sorry, it's going to be my encoding type, which is UTF-8, right? And then also my final one is an application /JSON, like that. No overload takes 4. Hold on. Derp, derp, derp. Post as JSON async. This is different than the one I'm used to. Hold on. It's in my HTTP client extensions class within my system.net.http. So let's try system.net.http. So this is what I'm seeing for it over here. Okay, I'll pull those in just a few minutes and take a peek at them. So here, this thing, I have a problem because this thing needs to be passing over what? Well, my endpoint here is a string. So the one that I'm looking at shows that the first thing here is a string. This is static classes. We don't want that. Let's find this thing, all right? Did they change it? This stuff is way beyond me. What? His or mine? Yours. What day was this posted? June 23rd of this year. So this isn't long ago. Microsoft ASP.NET Web API. I've written one. Just a second here. Because I'm looking at one example that I have here where essentially my post is async is drawing from my Rob. Oh, Rob. Oh, Rob. There it is. Oh, Rob. I just had it in the wrong place. So we want the response is equal to, now we're going to await the result dot content dot read as async as my type. And then we want to return the response. There we go. We got it there. Okay, we got to do another one of these, right? one of these now, instead of posting the serialized data, we could have another one where we're actually doing an async task of my U. Sorry, this will be a T here, and then it'll be a post of my U and then my T. And then we're going to have a U data string base URL, string endpoint again, and then also a string access token. This one we're going to be passing over these things as generic. So it's going to be, and then we're going to say where U is a type of base request and where T is a type of base response. So we can actually just probably copy and paste the majority of this crap into here. And now this time, the difference is that we're going to just that. And now we need one more for a get, right? When a get is again going to pass in a string of my base URL, and then a string of my endpoint, and then a string of my access token, where my T is the type of base response. And this is almost the same again, except we don't have. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine. Here, and then we need to deserialize this object. So then we're going to return the JSON convert.deserialize object of my type T of my result, like that. All right, so that should be pretty good. These are protected, so we don't need to bring them into the interface. All right, there, seeing a little bit. Okay, so now here when we're doing a get account, what I need to do is we want to do a var response. And then what we want to do is it's going to await this post, right, out to my, we're posting, what are we posting? We're posting to get a type of account create, so I guess account response, right? Do I currently have that in here? Account response. That just includes a view model of your account, so that's fine. And you're going to be passing in your serialized data, which is going to be your JSON convert.serialized object of my type serialized data. Oh, I'm sorry, of type request. And then also we're going to have a base URI, which is a string. This one's going to be my resource server URL. This one's going to be an actual endpoint that we hard code in here. And so this was in your MVC, I'm sorry, in your web API, under your resource, under your accounts. Oh, you haven't even made one yet. Well, we'll do that in just a few minutes. We're going to say that this thing is going to be in my controller is going to be called my, we want those in areas. We don't want those necessarily in areas. So it's going to be called account/create. And then we need to pass in my access token, which was my BLL auth dot. So now up here, we need to do a, oh no, you actually pass in your token here. Now, if my account response dot code response code is equal to my integer of my type HTTP status code dot OK, then what we want to do is we're going to return my account response. Actually, we'll just always do that. Just keep it easy and lightweight. So now over here we have this create account, so we need to come into here and add it. Okay, that's looking pretty good. So now we have to go into my resource server, and we need to create my first controller in here. And it's going to be called an account. So we can add in a new controller. And you're going to be passing in this MVC control web API with read-write actions. Let me see if I want that. I don't. We'll just make an empty one. And we're going to call this thing my account controller. All right. So now in this, we're going to need to have a couple of different pieces. I know we already have my data access layer written for this thing, right? Didn't we write that already? If I look back over here at my auth for my data access layer for my service, I do. See? Create account async right here. So this iService auth is ready to get injected into here. So we're going to do a public account controller iService auth. And then also, you know, you're going to need to bring in your IBLL auth. And now this one is going to be a IBLL auth. And now we have a BLL auth is equal to my BLL auth. And then we're going to have my service auth is equal to my service auth. Let's add this. And then I added my references. Accounts controller and my web API is going to be having to hit my... No. Wait, no, we don't need this. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to create a new method. So it's going to be a public, and we'll just do a async task. And we're going to call this create account. Okay, so when we do this one, the first thing is that I'm going to do this as an HTTP post. And my route here, since we'll do attribute routing, we're going to do account. I guess we don't even need that, right? And then I guess we should do this for good form. Okay, now when we do this create account, we are going to be receiving a account create request. Now if my model dot is not valid, right? And we're going to do something here. And this one we're going to, what are we returning? We're returning here the type of my device. I'm sorry, it's an account response. What magic are you doing, by the way? What do you mean? What magic am I doing? I don't know what you mean by that. Okay. Return new account response, and we're going to pass in my... Oh, where's my status code? So you do need to have something in here called like, well, we are going to want to create some kind of a log, right? So why don't we just get this started here by doing like a protected void, and we're going to say this as my create response, which is going to take in a type of T, where T is a type of base response. So now my message is going to be equal to my HTTP status code. Okay, so my message here is going to be equal to message. Response code is equal to my status code. Response code value is equal to my status code dot toString. Timestamp is my current time. That should be it. Like that, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to return a new, oh, so we need to have up here var response equals a new account response. And then also you need to have a var current time equals date time dot UTC now. What programming miracles are you going to tell him you're a coder, Harry? Wow, it's been fun. Great stream. See you around. All right, Shadow. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll be doing this each day. And I love it. I will totes use that sentence. Okay. So my status code here is going to be equal to, we're not doing it this way now, right? So now we can do like a create response. And my T response is going to be response. My message is going to be string.empty. My code here is going to be bad request current time. Then we're going to do something here where we do like a try, right? Oh, right. Let me see here. So now request dot, we have a username, right? So the first thing is that we have this service auth dot get account. I have an overload for this username and a password. And I think I already overrode this, so we can say request dot username string dot null. I mean empty. So let's take a quick peek at this when this thing is running my So when this thing is running my get account async by username and password here, all right, so back up here under my repo, where I had my get user type with my username and my password. If my user is equal to null, then we're going to get this where my user ID. Oh, this is totally wrong. No, it's not. This is getting the user here. So this comes from here. So if my password is null, then we find it without. So that's fine. So that's perfect. Check to see if this username already exists. Then here what you're going to do is you're going to create a response. It's going to be a response string.empty, and then it's going to be this request, which is going to be a conflict, and it's going to be my current time. Else you want to await service auth.create account async, which is going to be passing over this request. When I look at this, this wants me to create a new account view model here, but I want it to take this request. So let me go into here. Let's come into here to my get account. Like that. And then back over here now, get account is coming in from this mapper to my request. So we need to make sure that we have up here a s.create map from my account create request to my account dot reverse map. And now this one is going to be a request again, because it's going to go from a account was there. So if you're going to map this over, then you're going to insert this entity. Then if it saves, then you're going to map this from your entity to an account view model and return that. Yeah. This says that my does not implement get accounts async because it doesn't have the matching return type task account create request. Let me take another peek at what's happening here. Create account view model. Oh. This one goes over here. That's one of them. And then the next one is get account async, which has these two. And then it has a account recreate request. So this is wrong. This is an account view model. Okay, that should fix those. Let's build it. When are you going to help me? I don't know how much I can with Java stuff. But there's other people in the Discord who might be able to. So make sure you check us out, discord.pixelhorrorstudios.com. That's the main way that everyone stays in communication. If you have any questions, please put them in there. Let me put up my YouTube channel, so that way you can always go back and see things that have already been done for this. Because we have all the videos up on YouTube. So let me go ahead and post that. If you guys haven't yet, please click the follow if you like the see, I want to go to my dashboard, my channel. Here you go, guys. Okay. So now that's all fine there. 2 failed because right here, this thing says that it's not always returning. So here now that we are creating this account, we're getting the account view model. So actually, if I come back and I look at this, I do want this to be a account response. Return new account response where my account is equal to my view model. So this is my create account async. Okay, and now we're going to say my response dot account is equal to my data transfer object dot account, right? But this is supposed to be now returning a account view model, so it's not still. Hey there, Basil MO17. Thank you very much for that follow. Very much appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, please pop them in the channel. Got a really active and supportive community. Make sure you join us at discord.pixelhorrorstudios.com. All right, we'll see you later, Nils Noah. Make sure you click the follow so you can come back and check us out tomorrow. So now this thing, my create account async, this thing is telling me, nope, that doesn't currently exist. So we want to come back here and look again. So create account async. Yes, it does. Create account async, account response. Create client async. Oh. Create account async. Looks good. Now we're going to do that. This is a data transfer object dot account. Just a moment. So now we want to say if my data transfer object dot account is not equal to null, then we want to return it here, like that. And then we're going to want to do a create response. Hey, Flayin1, thank you for that follow. Very much appreciate that, buddy. But if you want, you can have fun with my ray tracer. I already did. Thank you, man. No worries. Appreciate that. HTTP status code is going to be okay here. And then this is going to be my current time. Same thing here. Okay, and then down here now, if in fact that we didn't get this, then we're going to this one's going to be a we'll say that this is an internal server error as well here. And then now we need to have a catch. We'll do the same one here. My response is declared out, so that should be fine. Let's go ahead and check out our resource and see if this thing is allowing me to run it. Let's go ahead and set this as my default. And then I want to use Swagger with it. So we're going to, on my PHS Web API resource, we want to install package swashbuckle. Okay. So now if I look back over here in my app start, I have my Swagger config here. It looks like it's doing this in my global. Let's go ahead and dump this. And then down here in my web API, we're going to have a new one called private void start Swagger. Okay. So to get Swagger working on this, what I want to do is I want to use an external, oops, sorry. HTTP config. So we're going to do a var config equals a new HTTP configuration. And then here what we want to do is we want to do our start Swagger. And then I know we're going to have our web API config.register. And that one's going to need to have a config. And then we're going to need to have a app.useCores, right? So that we can do Microsoft.on.cores.cores options.allow all. Do I not have a Unity container on here? I don't. So we need to actually have something in here for private void start Unity. And here what we're going to do is we're going to have a container equals. We need to add in here a unity.webapi. Okay. So we need to add in use cores, right? So how do we do that? Microsoft Owen.cores. Okay, so now what we need to do here is we're going to have a new Unity config container, right? So this thing should be a iUnity container. Like that. And we want to pass in nothing. And so now our container is going to be equal to var container equals new Unity container. And this is for my dependency injection, Unity config dot register types. We're going to reference over that container. So let's go take a look at what's happening here. Register components is going to take in a type of HTTP configuration. So in here, actually we can just do this with a container, right? So we want to do a iUnity container like that. And now what we want to do is we want to kill that one, and now we need to register our types. So we already have that done here in my authorization server. Here under Unity config. Crap, we didn't want that one. These are not called this. This is called my iApplication User Manager for these, right? No, it is this one. This needs to be using Entity Framework in this Web API resource. Okay. That looks pretty good. Let's clear all this. And then we have to come back to my startup because we did this register components thing, right? And it's going to be my container. And then what we want to do is we want to do my global host thing on that HTTP config. You know what I mean? Because we're modifying it. So here we need to do my config.dependency resolver. Equals a new Unity dependency resolver, right? And we need to pass in now my container. But it's a little more complicated, I think, than that. Nope, it's truly not. That's it. And that's it. And then we're going to return our container. But we don't need to. So this could just be a void. And then here you can just do a start. Unity. Okay. This is a config. Finally, I think we have to do my configure authorization here, which also needs to be probably passing in my HTTP config. App.use bearer tokens. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Hey there, all a thou. Thank you for that follow. Very much appreciate that. If you have any questions, please pop them in the channel. Make sure you check us out, discord.pixelhorrorstudios.com, and also all the old videos are up on YouTube if you are at all interested in catching up with the project. Thanks again. So now like that. And now finally, we need to do my app.use web API, right? So it's not finding use web API, so let's figure out why. This one. Here we go. And I guess we can finish tying in our Swagger here. So we're going to have a config dot. And now what we're going to have is it's going to be an enable Swagger. So I don't know if you guys have ever used Swagger. I will show you everything that it's good for, though. Okay, there it is. And so now what we want to do is we want to do the single API version, and we're going to call this my version 1. And we're going to call this Pixel Horror Studios Resource Web API. And then also we need to do an operation filter, right? But we'll do that in a second. And then down here, we probably want to do my, we may need to do the c.disable validator maybe. And then also we probably want to do some inject style sheet or some crap, right? Which is a typo, and then it's my startup dot assembly. And then we have to do it the other convention way here, which is my phs dot web API dot resource dot content dot swagger dot CSS. And we need to pass in my config. Okay, I think we're good to go to run it. Okay, that's fine. I don't think that's going to matter. And now I think we're good to go to run it. That looks fine. There's Swagger. You can see it's working. Here's my post account. If I post one, we're going to say this is liver dev trying. And my password is just going to be 123456. It went in okay. Now it didn't map okay. So let's check to see what's going on. We should get a conflict here. Nope. So there is not currently this account. Now we're going to create it. So the first thing is that we want to take this request and we want to map it over to this entity, which is a user ID is nothing, a timestamp is nothing. Because it doesn't work like that, you have to do a little bit more. You need to also create this in your user manager, right? Because this is where all your roles are. So in this, before you even get here, you have to do your var user equals await, and then it's going to be your unit of work dot, and we should have something in here called accounts dot. We should have something called create account async. That's going to create this entire account. Okay. Create account is going to be an account view model. So let's see how that works. And then that means that this thing is no data transfer object. Now it's just going to be this. Okay, let's run it. Kind of miss the music. Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. I do it in the intro, but then the rest of it's going up on YouTube. John, if you haven't yet, make sure you check out the YouTube. Let me pull that link up here for you. If we can get to 100, since I just started doing it, if we can get up that high on it, then we'll be able to get a direct link. Okay. Let's check our Swagger again. And my password is 123456, and my email is that. So when we run it, it doesn't currently exist. We're going to create it here. There it is. So it's working. And now you can see my account here, and it looks like my username never mapped over. So let's fix that. Here. This user view model has username with a capital N. And this user has it with a, doesn't even have one. Hold on. So that means that here, like that. And then what we want to do is it's going to be my username. It's going to be equal to my await, my unit of work dot accounts dot get I thought I had something in this to get a I should have something in here for get username or something, right? Account doesn't have a username in it because we're not drawing from it, but you probably should put it in here because it makes it way easier. Okay, now we're going to be, I hate doing the YouTube because of the affiliate thing. I don't want to be an affiliate anymore. I don't know what an affiliate is. Okay, let's go ahead and add this migration, which is here inside of my domain, right? And we're going to say addition of username. When we look over here, we should be able to see that in my accounts, we don't see anything in here, right? But we do in my ASP users. There I am. There I am. And then also in my, I don't think we did our roles yet, but we did do in our accounts. All right. It failed to build. Why would it fail to build? Hold on. Right here. All it does, it's dumb. Unless you get hundreds of viewers, you won't make enough to get a payout. All it does is not allow me to restream on YouTube. Yeah, that sounds lame. I haven't really been wanting to... But I changed the model. Didn't I change the model? I did right here. Still no username though, huh? Let's try that. There we go. And now when we run it, it should all work the way we want. Bum 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 bum. Here we go. We're going to call this my test account. And we'll say the password is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 again, and we'll try it out. Can see it. And it ran. Our username is still null. Why would our username still be null? Hold on. So it's not filling our username when we're doing this. username equals user.username. Easy enough. Let's try it again here with another test account 1. And now you can see that it's all working. So that's it for me today, guys. I will be back tomorrow. Try to get started at 5:30. Might be started at 6. We'll go till about 8. What I think we'll do tomorrow is we have it so that we're authorizing our users against the web API. And now we're able to create users on the web API, so then we can also create them locally. And then at that point, I think we're ready to start scaffolding on our views. So that's what we'll be looking at doing tomorrow. If you haven't yet, make sure you click the follow. Check out IndieDev here on twitch.tv. That's the really great group that I'm a part of. There's a lot of great content coming out of there. Also, make sure that you check us out at discord.pixelhorrorstudios.com. And we're on YouTube now. So if you go and check that out, there's no audio associated with the YouTube. And if we get up to 100 clicks then, or subscriptions on it, then I'll be able to get a custom URL. So until tomorrow, guys, you guys have a good night.